Hi friends, today we will see another paper, that is GATE 2022, and we will check all the answers, right? You can quickly recall all your concept while I will telling you the answers only. So the very first question is, Raman is confined of speaking English dash 6 months as he has been practicing regularly dash the last 3 weeks. So the answer for first was D, that is within and for. So the Raman is confined of speaking English within 6 months as he has been practicing regularly for the last 3 weeks, right? Second question is, his knowledge of this subject was excellent, but his classroom performance was what? So the answer for 2 was extremely poor, that is option A, right? Now the question third is, select the word that fits the analogy. So for question 3, the answer is again A, cook, fly, flyer. All right. Now the next question is, the dawn of the 21st century witnessed the melting glacier oscillating between giving too much and too little to billions of people who depend on them for fresh water. So the UN climate reports estimates that without deep cuts to man-made emissions, at least 30% of the northern hemisphere surface forced could melt by the end of the country. Given his situations of imminent global exodus of billions of people displaced by rising seas, nation-states need to rethink their carbon footprint for political concern, if not for environmental ones. So which one of the following statement can be inferred from the given passage? So the answer for 4 is D, that is billions of people are affected by melting glaciers, right? Now the question number 5 is, the cost of travel on an edge between two nodes is given in rupees. So node A, B, C, D, E and F are toll booths, right? The toll price at toll booths marked A and E is rupees 200 and is rupees 100 for the other toll booths. So which is the cheapest route from node 1 to node 2? Now the answer for 5 is our B, that is 1FB2, right? Question number 6 is, which carries 2 marks. Goods and service tax (GST) is an indicate tax introduced in India in 2017 that is imposed on the supply of goods and services, right? And it subsumes all indirect taxes except few. So it is a destination based tax imposed on goods and service used, and it is not imposed at the point of origin from where goods come, right? So GST also has a few components specific to state government, central government and union territories. So which one of the following statement can be inferred from the given passage? So answer for 6 will be our D, that is GST is imposed at the point of uses of goods and services. Now the question number 7, that is, if P equals to 3, R equals to 27, T equals to 243, then Q plus S equals to what, right? So another, for this reasoning the answer is our C, that is 90. All right, so you can have the series of I hope you remember that A, B, C, D, then get their sequence number and then try to solve this questions. Now the question number 8 is, the figure below shows an annular ring with outer and inner radius B and A respectively. So the annular space has been painted in the form of blue color circles touching the outer and inner periphery of annular space. If maximum n number of circular can be painted, then the unpainted area available in annular spaces is what? So the answer for 8 is our A, that is this one. Now the question number 9 is, two straight lines are drawn perpendicularly perpendicular to each other in xy plane. If alpha and beta are the acute angles and a straight line make with the x-axis, then alpha plus beta is what? So the answer for 9 is B, that is 90%. The total revenue of a company during 2014 and 2018 is shown in a bar graph. If the total expenditure of the company in each year is 500 million rupees, then the aggregate profit or loss in percentage on the total expenditure of the company during 2014 and 2018 is, so the answer for 10 is our C, that is a 20% profit. Now we have core questions, right? So the first one is that consider the function, okay, and which of the function is increasing everywhere in 0 1. So for again this question our answer is A, that is second only, right? X square minus sin x. Question number 2 is that for parameters A and B, both of which are w1 tn equals to tn to the power 1 by A plus 1 and tb equals to 1. So then Tn is again to get the time complexity we will get this as A, that is log n, okay, theta log n. Consider the following statement, that is daisy chaining is used to assign priority in attending interrupts. When a device raises a vectored interrupt, the CPU does pooling to identify the source of interrupt. In pooling, the CPU periodically checks the status bits to know if any device needs its attention. During DMA, both the CPU and DMA control can be bus masters at the same time. So for question 3, we have the answer as C, that is both 1 and 3 are true. Scheduling, right? A is a running process can move to ready state, a ready process can move to running state, a blocked process can move to running state, and a blocked process can move to ready state. So for 12 the answer is C, that is 1 2 and 4th only. Consider a relational database containing the following schema. Okay, so this is the schema. The primary key of each table is indicated by underlining constituent fields, right? So this is the SQL query statement we have, and the answer for 13 is that A, that is 4. So the fourth number of row written by the SQL. So 4 number of row written by the SQL from this particular query. Which one of the following is used to represent the supporting many one relationship of a weak entity set in an entity relationship diagram? All right, so for 14 the answer is again A, diamonds and double bold border. Consider the following statement about the functionality of an IP based router. So a router does not modify the IP packets during forwarding. It is not necessary for a router to implement any routing protocol. A router should reassemble IP fragment if the MTU of the outgoing link is larger than the size of incoming IP packets. So the answer for 15 is D, that is second only. It is not necessary for a router to implement any routing protocol. What is the worst case time complexity of inserting an element into an empty linked list if the linked list needs to be maintained in sorted order? So for 16 the answer is C, that is order of n square. For n inserting and another n to make it sorted, because both time there will be traverse. 17, let R be the set of all binary relation on the set 1 2 3. Suppose the relation is chosen from R at random. The probability that the chosen relation is reflexive, round off to 3 decimal places. So for 17 the answer is 0.125. Now 18, let G be a group of 35 elements. Then the largest possible size of a subgroup of G other than G itself is, then for 18 it will be 7. A multiplexer is placed between a group of 32 register and an accumulator to regulate data movement such that at any given point in time the content of only one register will move to the accumulator. The Minimum number of select lines needed for the multiplexer is, then for 19 our answer will be 5. If there are m input line and n output lines for a decoder that is used to uniquely address a byte addressable 1 kilobyte RAM, then the minimum value of m plus n is what? So for 20 our answer will be 1034. Okay, now for 21, directed map cache memory of 1 MB has a block size of 256 bytes. The cache has a access time of 3 ns and a hit rate of 94% during a cache miss. It takes 20 nanoseconds to bring the first word of a block from the main memory. So while each subsequent work takes 5 nanosecond, the word size is 64 bit. The average memory access time in ns round off to 1 decimal places is what? So for 21 our answer will be 13.5. Now consider the following C program. Okay, this is the program. Then the output of the program is what? 22 is 19. Consider a double hashing scheme in which the primary hash function is this one and the secondary hash function is s2k equals to 1 plus k mod 19. Assume that the table size is 23, then the address returned by probe 1 in the probe sequence. Assume that the probe sequence begins at probe 0. For key value k equals to 90 is, and for 23 our answer will be 13. Consider the following grammar: S tends to ASB and D and B tends to D. The number of reduction step taken by a bottom-up parser while accepting the string, this one is, so for 24 the answer will be 7. Now assume that you have made a request for a web page through your web browser to a web server. Initially the browser cache is empty. Further, the browser is configured to send HTTP request in non-present mode, persistent mode. The web page contains text and 5 very small images. The minimum number of TCP connections required to display the web page completely in your browser is what? So for 25 the answer is 6. Once you will solve this problem by applying all those formula, you will get answer as 6. Now question number 26 is, which of the following language are undecidable? Note that M indicates encoding of the Turing machine M. So this is the statement. Then for 26 our answer will be A, L1, L3 and L4 only. Let A and B be 2 n into n matrices over real number. Let rank M and that M denotes the rank and determinant of a matrix M respectively. Consider the following statement. So for question number 27 our answer will be C, that is second and third. Determinant of AB equals to determinant of A into B, right? And the third will be rank A plus B is less than equals to rank A plus rank B. Question number 28 is saying that this is the diagram. Which one of the following maintain list represent the circuit given above? So for 28 our answer is B, that is a sigma 14567. 29. Consider 3 register R1, R2 and R3 that store number in IEEE 754 single precision floating point format. Assume that R1 and R2 contain the value in hexadecimal notation, this and this one respectively. So for 29 our answer is B, because if R3 is R1 by R2, then what is the value of sorted in R3? So it will store option B in R3. A computer system with a word length of 32 bits has a 16 MB byte addressable main memory and a 64 kilobyte 4-way set associative cache memory with a block size of 256 byte. Consider the following 4 physical address represented in hexadecimal notation. So A1, A2, A3, A4 is this. Which one of the following is true? So for 30 the answer will be B, that is A2 and A3 are mapped to the same cache set. Now 31 is let G, VE be a weighted and directed graph, and let T be a minimum spanning tree of G maintained using adjacency list. Suppose a new weighted edge, that is UV, subset of V into V, is added to G. The worst case time complexity of determinant if T is still an MST of the resultant graph is 10. For 31st, our answer will be D, that is order of V. 32, consider the following language. Okay, which one of the true? So for 32, the true is A, that is L1 is regular and L2 is context free. All right, you can solve this and get the answer by the definition of regular and context free. Now the question number 33 is, consider the production A tends to PQ and A tends to XY. Each of the 5 non-terminal A, PQ, X and Y has 2 attributes. S is a synthesized attribute and I is an inherited attribute. Consider the following rules. So for 33, our answer is B, that is only rule 1 is L attributed. Okay. Now for 34, each of a set of n process execute the following code using two semaphore A and B initialized to 1 and 0 respectively. Assume that count is a share variable initialized to 0 and not share in code section P. Okay, so this is section P and section Q. What does the code achieve? So for 34, our answer will be A, that is to ensure that no process execute code section Q before every process has finished code section P. Now question number 35 is, consider the following 5 disk access requests of the form request ID cylinder number that are present in the disk scheduler queues at given time. Okay, assume the head is positioned at cylinder 100. The scheduler follows shortest seek time first scheduling to service the request. So for 35, our answer will be B, that is Q is serviced after S but before T. Now for 36, consider the relational table R that is in 3NF but not in BCNF. Which one of the following is true? So for 36, our answer will be A, that is R has a non-trivial function dependency X tends to A, where X is not a super key and A is not a prime attribute. Now the question number 37 asking that consider a schedule of transaction T1 and T2, right? Here Rx stand for read X and Wx stand for write X. Which one of the following schedule is conflict equivalent to the above schedule? So question number 37 is A, that is this one, T1 and T2 RB WB RD, and T1 will be RA RC WD WB. Right, and T2 will be then WC, then T1 will commit, then T2 will commit. Now question number 38 is, an organization requires a range of IP address to assign one to each of its 1500 computers. The organization has approached an internet service provider ISP for this task. The ISP use CIDR and serves the request from the available IP address space. This, right? So the ISP wants to assign an address space to the organization which will minimize the number of routing entries in the ISP router using the aggregation. Which of the following address space are potential candidates from which the ISP can allot any one to the organization? So for 38, the answer is B, that is second and third only. Right, second is this one and third is this one. Which one of the following predicate formula is not logically valid? So note that W is predicate formula without any free occurrence of X. So for 39, our answer is C, that is this one. Okay. So 40, let G equals to VE be a directed weighted graph with the weight function, this one, for some for each age as this one. Which one of the opposite complete the following sentence is, that is is true. The shortest path in G under W are shortest path under W2. So the answer for 40 is A. That is, for every F, V tends to R. Alright, 41 is, in a balanced binary search tree with an element, what is the worst case time complexity of reporting all element in range AB? Assume that the number of reported element is K. So for 41 the answer is B, that is log n plus K. Now the 42 is the number of permutation of the character in LILAC so that no character appears in its original position. If the two else are indistinguishable is, so the answer for 44 is 12. Similarly, for 43, consider a non-pipeline processor operating at 2.5 gigahertz. It takes 5 clock cycle to complete an instruction. Okay, you are going to make a 5-stage pipeline out of this processor. Overhead associated with the pipeline force you to operate the pipeline processor at 2 gigahertz in a given program. Assume that 30% are memory instruction, 60% are ALU instruction, and the rest are branch instruction. 5% of memory instructions cause stall of 50 clock cycle each due to cache missed, and 50% of the branch instruction cause stalls of 2 cycles each. Assume that there are no stalls associated with the execution of ALU instruction. For this program, the speed up achieved by the pipeline processor over the non-pipelined processor rounded of 2 decimal places is, so the 43 the answer will be 2.15 to 2.18. A processor has a 64 register and uses 16-bit instruction format. It has 2 types of instruction, first type and R type. Each one type instruction contains an opcode, a register name, and a 4-bit immediate value. Each R type instruction contains an opcode and 2 register names. If there are 8 distinct I-type opcode, then the maximum number of distinct R-type opcodes is what? So for 44 the answer is 14. Now for 45, the for n is greater than 2, let a belongs to 0, 1 to the power n be a non-zero vector. Suppose that x is chosen uniformly at random form 0, 1, n, then the probability that this is an odd number is, okay, so for 45 the probability we will get 0.5 once we will solve the equation. So answer for 45 is 0.5 only. Consider the following program. Okay, this is the program we have, and the return value of func5. So here in func2 it will pass 5, and you can see that it is calling func1 inside. So there are function call inside function. So if you solve this program you will get the answer as 55. So answer for 46 will be 55. Consider the array representation of a binary min heap containing 1023 elements. The minimum number of comparison required to find the maximum in the heap is, so 511 will be the minimum number of comparison with 1023 elements. Consider the following function. We have another function. Now the value returned by pp34. So in pp it is passing 34 now. So if you hit and try the program, you will get the answer as 81. So the answer for 48 is 81. Now the question number 59 is, consider a graph G equals to VE where V equals to this, E equals to this, right? And weight of the edge VI Vj is this one. The weight of minimum spanning tree of G is what? So the answer for 49 will be 99 here. Now consider the following set of processes assumed to have arrived at time 0. Consider the CPU scheduling algorithm, shortest job first SJF, and round robin for RR. Assume that the processes are scheduled in the order P1, P2, P3, P4. Okay. If the time quantum of RR round robin is 4 millisecond, then the absolute value of the difference between the average turnaround time in MS of shortage of first and RR round robin to 2 decimal places is what? So the answer for 50 would be our 5.25. Okay, so the answer is 5.25. For 51, consider the following language. Okay, the number of A's in X is divided by 2 but not divisible by 3. So the number of state in this particular DFA that accept Alice. So you have to frame the DFA which will accept this language, right? And you will get answer as a 6 once you will solve this. Hope if you have already done this, you could remember that how the answer is 6. Now question number 52 is graph 6 is obtained by adding vertex S to K34 and making S adjacent to every vertex of K34. The minimum number of color required to each color G is what? So answer for 52 is 7. Okay. Now 53 is consider a paging system that uses a one level page table residing in main memory and a TLB for address translation. Each main memory access take 100 ns and TLB lookup takes 20 ns. Each page transfer to from the disk take 5000 ns. Assume that the TLB hit ratio is 95%, page fault rate is 10%. Assume that for 20% of the total page faults, a dirty page has to be written back to disk before the required page is read in form of disk. So TLB update time is negligible. So the average memory access time in ns round off to 1 decimal places is what? So the answer for 53 is 1.54.5 to 154.5 to 155.5. So once you will solve this, you will get the same answer as I just mentioned. So question number 54, consider the database implemented using B+tree for file indexing and installed on a disk drive with block size of 4 KB. The size of search key is 12 bytes and the size of tree or disk pointer is 8 byte. Assume that the database has 1 million record. Also assume that no one of the B tree and no one of the B+tree and no record are present initially in main memory. Consider that each record fits into one disk block. So the minimum number of disk accesses required to retrieve any record in the database is what? So the answer of 54 will be 4 here. Now the last question is consider a TCP connection between a client and a server with the following specification. So the specification is the round trip time is 6 ms and the size of the receiver advertised window is 50 KB. Slow start threshold at the client is 32 KB and the maximum segment size is 2 KB. The connection is established at time t equals to 0. Assume that there are no timeouts and error during transmission. Then the size of the congestion window in KB at time t plus 60 ms after all acknowledgements are processed is 44. Okay, so the answer will be 44 for 55. Yeah guys, so this was all about this 2020 paper, right? I'll come with some more old paper where they will definitely help you to recap all your concept for GATE CS or any other competitive exam, because most of the exam you might observe that just pick the same old question and ask you again. All right, so let's meet in another video. Thanks.